The central protagonist is portrayed through a number of ways in a film opening. For example, applying to the rule of thirds, the central protagonist will mainly always be centrally framed. Another way they are portrayed is through tighter frames than other characters. The shot is usually cut back to them when another, less major character is speaking. There are also a lot of tracking shots on a protagonist. Narrative enigma also signifies who the protagonist is. The movie About a Boy was directed by Chris and Paul Weitz and released in 2002 with a budget of $40.5 million. There is narrative enigma by not showing the protagonist immediately. The narrative enigma is enforced by the tense diegetic music from the TV show.
John Milton. John F. Kennedy.
The protagonist isn't shown at all throughout the film opening. There is also a rule of thirds where the protagonist is centrally framed. Throughout the opening, there is a voiceover on which anchors the man as the protagonist.
In my opinion, all men are islands.
There are a few examples of tracking shots on the protagonist.
Whereas now, you see, you can make yourself a little...
The movie This Is England was directed by Shane Meadows and released in 2007 with a budget of £1.5 million. The protagonist isn't shown immediately, which provides narrative enigma. He is only shown 4 minutes into the opening. 4 minutes and 23 seconds in, the protagonist is centrally framed. The mise-en-scene can provide a lot of exposition about the characters, target audience, where the movie is set, and other things as well. In About a Boy, there are many aspects within the mise-en-scene which provide exposition. There is Red Bull, a large collection of LPs, electric guitars, and speakers, which all signify a youthful and rebellious character. There is also a pack of cigarettes which anchors this complex character. On the other hand, there is a teacup with a saucer, a large book, and a very monochromatic navy blue and grey theme throughout the house. These all connote his character to be sophisticated, intelligent, and conservative. In This Is England, the first thing we see is an older alarm clock, a picture of a man in uniform, a sweater, cracked paint on the wall, and a lamp. The older alarm clock gives us exposition on when this movie was set, which was in the 80s. This is anchored with the lamp. The picture of the man in uniform is polysemic, as we don't know who this person is in relation to the protagonist. The cracked paint on the wall signifies the protagonist is working class. As the camera zooms out, the chair becomes visible, which is also cracked on the edges, which anchors this. The posters on the wall and bed sheets also add exposition on the protagonist. Often when a movie is transitioning from the film opening into the main film, there is the main title. In This Is England, there is a sequence of footages as the titles roll, and then the final title comes up before it fades to black and then fades back up to the main film.